We're fortunate today to be able to interview Mrs. Ella Dunford, a longtime resident of the north part of Bexar County, and she is going to tell us about many of the families that populated and grew up in the northwest part of San Antonio and Bexar County. She went to Clifton School, and we're really looking forward to hearing about the many interesting things that Mrs. Dunford has to say. I'm Jack Jordan, former superintendent of Northside School District. And you'd give us your name and tell us a little bit about how your family came to this part of Bexar County.
I'm Ella J. Dunford, and my grandfather was a doctor, and he had a land grant on the property that we reside on. And so all the families that came from his family, my grandfather's family came from Canary Islands. And so they all settled in it's called San Geronimo, but it's really, it's a Helotes address, but it's really San Geronimo. But everyone that lived there then almost lives there yet. Lots of families.
And where were you born?
I was born at the Gallagher Range because my mom and dad lived there. You know, my father was a foreman there, so I was born there.
And describe for us where the Gallagher Range is located.
The Gallagher Range is right at San Geronimo, but it's quite a few miles from the highway, you know, back into the pasture. And so all of us were born there. We were 9, and we were all born there.
Tell me, as you grew up there, tell me about what businesses people were in, what kind of work they did.
Well, the only business we had was at the store, Peach Place. That's the only one. That's all there was. And no more stores than that.
How did you get fuel and?
Well, the fuel was after a few years we did, but before that there was no fuel. Everybody had their horses and buggies, you know, and wagons. I remember Papa having a wagon.
Moved everything by wagon and horse drawn.
Yeah, nothing.
And you didn't have electricity at that time?
No, with lamp.
Tell us how you received medical care.
We really didn't. My grandfather was an herbal doctor, and evidently we didn't get sick because we never went to the doctor, you know. And when I was little and had a vaccination, my arm got infected, and Mr. Logan was a veterinarian, so Mama took me over to their house to doctor my arm, so I wouldn't lose it because I had a hole all the way to the bone, and that's who doctored me. But other than that, I don't recall anybody having anything serious. But when I was 15, I had an appendix, and then we had a neighbor, Mr. Phelps, lived across the road from us, and he was an architect, so he had a lot to do with the Robert B. Greene Hospital. So he said, "You don't have to worry, honey, I'll take you in myself." So he took me in, and I was operated at the Robert B. Greene.
Were you taken in by wagon or by car?
No, by then there was cars. By the time I was 15, and my brothers had left home, and I told my mom, I said, if I could get the car out of the garage, I know how to drive. So I did. So we got in the car and went to visit the neighbors, you know. So.
What roads were in place at
Just a Bandera Road.
Bandera Road.
That's all. Bandera Road.
Well, tell us about the Clifton School.
Well, it was just one room, and all of us went in that one room, 6 classes, you know. And, well, it was just one. We thought it was wonderful. That's the only place we could go, because we lived about 5 miles from it. We had to walk every day.
Where was Clifton School located?
It's on the Haby Lane.
Haby Lane.
And I think that the land was loaned to the district, you know, and then when they didn't no longer use it for a school, it went back to the owner. But Mr. Schott's grandson lives in it now. It's still there. I forgot to bring you a picture. My older sisters did, and my brother.
Where did they go?
They had to go live with relatives in town.
Okay.
Papa didn't have very many, didn't have a big family. So the two older girls, see, my mother and father would be married right now 102 years.
Wow.
So those, I have a niece that is 84, just like me. So it's, a long time ago.
Tell us about the school day. You walked
We walked to school.
and your lunch. And
We brought lunch. My mama packed us a lunch every day, and everybody had to bring lunch. Nobody, there was no place to eat, nothing, nowhere. The only little store was Mr. Pete Place, but we had to go across the pastures to get to school a little closer. And my dad built ladders over the fences so that we could climb and wouldn't bother the neighbors' pasture. I mean, their fences, But they were always so nice to us.
I can remember those. It'd have like steps up and go across and go right down.
Yeah, right over the fence. And Mr. Habe owned 10,000 acres with us, so he would always come to tell my mama to let the boys go get their meat. If we didn't, always helped everybody. So I grew up thinking that everybody, helps everybody, because that's how I grew up.
Pretty good way to grow up.
Oh yeah.
Was that Walter Habe?
Walter no, his daddy.
His dad.
It's Theodore Habe.
Theodore. Okay.
But Walter Habe was Mr. Habe's boy.
Yeah.
He wasn't like Daddy. Walter wasn't like Daddy. But by the time he come along, things were different. It was a different period of life.
How did you heat the school?
We had a wood stove.
And can you remember some of the teachers that?
Well, our last teacher was Mr. Carter, and we had a Mr. Coleman, and we had a Miss Goldsberg, but I don't, they're probably all gone.
5 miles walking to school.
Every day.
Every day.
And my brother and I never missed a day.
Wow.
We walked all the time. We went every day.
Wow.
Because we loved school.
So you must have had good teachers and
They were wonderful. One
good.
young man. This man was about 24 years old, Mr. Carter was, but he was a beautiful person. And they taught you to learn. So to this day, when I got old enough that I was going to have to get out of school, and he said, if you could borrow a typewriter, I'll teach you.
That is great. That is great.
To this day, I still know now is the time to come to the aid of our country, And I took my, so I never have forgotten it. Jimmy Logan is also one. And most of us were real artistic, And the picture that I brought you shows you the things that those kids would do, that they did, and that teacher couldn't get over,
What did you do for recess at Clifton School?
We had swings and hopscotch, and and seesaws. We had that.
Tell us about some of your classmates.
Well, there's some still living. We've been friends all our life. I go out to eat with one every Monday.
Who's that?
One of the girls that went to school with me, and I had asked her to come, but she didn't. She wasn't ready to come. But now that we're grown, we meet in town and we go out to eat every Monday.
Now, when you say you meet in town, what town is that?
San Antonio.
You go to town.
Oh yes.
Sure enough, go to town. You don't go to Helotes, you go to town.
I go to town. Yeah, to San Antonio, and eat every Monday. It's the same place. We've been there going for years and years.
Well, where do you go? Tell me about it.
Oh, it's Jen's Chinese restaurant
All right.
on Overseen and Glen Ridge. Yeah, we go every Monday.
When did the school day begin?
It started at 8 in the morning.
I thought you were going to tell me it began when you got there. 'Cause
No,
you never,
no.
You never
we
missed
had
a day.
hours, 8 o'clock.
And you'd be there on time.
Yeah, oh, sure. We always did. But we had an advantage too that Mrs. Haby, Frances Haby, used to come down the lane sometimes, you know. And if she was driving her car, she would pick us up and bring us to school. But if Mr. Haby was driving, we had to walk. He would pass us up. But we loved Mrs. Haby because she would give us a ride. Loved her till the end. In fact, I have her picture. I have to get it out.
You never forget things like that.
No, you don't.
Even though later on people are being taught, don't ever accept rides with strangers, or don't ever accept rides, period.
Yeah, but we knew Miss
You
Haby. She was
knew.
a young lady.
She's part of the family.
Oh,
almost.
yes. And grew up with us the same way all our life. She was always so nice to us. Till, like I said, till the end. She could, all the time.
What did y'all do on weekends when you were going to Clifton?
Oh, I don't remember any. It just, you know, we didn't get to do too much of anything.
You worked?
Yeah, at home. You had chores at home to do. But
What did your family do?
my dad was the foreman, you know,
Right.
at the Gallagher Ranch, and he was kind of like a cowboy. He used to break horses for people, you know, and so he was busy all the time. He worked for Mr. Lytle also, and my mom used to make. We had cows, you know, and had to milk cows and butter, cheese, and eggs. She sold all that to help out.
What do you remember about the time when the elementary school districts, of which Clifton was one of, kind of a county school district, voted to consolidate with Northside?
I don't remember that, you know, because I was still little when you know, we couldn't go to school anymore. But I got a job, you know, and did, like I said, typing, office work, you know, and I learned that. So that's what Mr. Carter taught me. So they had like an NYA or something like that. The government used to let the kids go to school so they could go to school, you know, too.
So you learned that skill thanks to Mr. Carter.
Thanks to Mr. Carter.
Now,
yeah.
how'd you get that typewriter?
My brother-in-law had one. It was a little bit portable one, and I learned on that. And imagine this, I'm 84, and I still remember the things that, you know, you had to type. And by the time I think I got out of school, I was 40 words a minute.
All right.
So that's not too bad.
That wasn't on an electric typewriter either.
Oh, no, this was a little portable one, an old antique one.
Tell us, if you would, about the different families that were out in this area that you think so much of, the Habies and Topperwines and Shots and Madless.
Well, the Topperwines, they're here.
In Helotes.
Yeah. But the Habies, the Shots, and there's different Shots, three families of Shots. And the Habies, well, there was another two there too. And then the Logans were next door neighbors. Miss Logan came to the house every day. She was a very young lady when she married this older man, you know, Mr. Logan. So when she didn't come over to the house, Mama said, y'all go check on Miss Logan. She didn't come today to see if she was sick or something, you know. But everybody was a real close neighbors, you know. Everybody checked on everybody.
Tell me about the Shots, the different families and where they live today. I know Les and Gary
Okay,
Schott.
you because they went to school, yeah. Well, Mr. Schott was August Schott, Papa Schott, you know, and he had Howard, his son, and had another one, Thomas Leo, and Mr. Adolph Schott. So those were his three sons. Then Leo Schott's daughter, Peggy, went to school with us, and so did Peggy and Thomas Liam. And Mr. Winn built the school, and Mr. Winn still, the son is still my friend.
Is that right?
Oh yeah, he's my friend. So I never saw him for 28 years, since he was in the second grade, till a grown man. So then I told him, I cut his hair, and he was German, so he spoke broken English. So that's how I knew who he was. I didn't know him because I hadn't seen him in 28 years.
Where'd the Schatz live?
The Schott lives at San Geronimo.
San Geronimo.
They still live in the same place. The youngest one, Gary, lives in Papa Schott's house, and Leslie lives across the water there, across the creek. He got a new house, and I don't know where the girl lives, Betty Lou.
Well, tell me about the Madlas.
Well, my aunt was a Madla. She was married to my mother's brother, my aunt. And, but my mom and dad were raised with them, the older people, the Madlas, all of them. We knew them all. And,
what do you remember about the Topperwines?
Topperwines I don't.
Okay.
No, I don't. Because they didn't live over there. They lived this way.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned Martinez.
Martinez, yes.
Now,
Peach Place.
Okay, that's Peach Place.
That's right.
It's still there today.
It's still there today, but it's no longer in service. They, I don't know if you remember Lotto Martinez, was Peach Boy,
Okay.
and then Jerry Martinez.
Jerry, I taught
You
Jerry.
taught Jerry. Okay. You knew he passed away, right?
Yes, I did.
And see, he owned that. That's his property.
They were good folks.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. I just can't say enough about any of them because, when you've been around them all your life, that's all you know is your friends,
Well, you've been close through the years.
Oh,
The
yeah.
families have been close.
Oh,
and, you've supported each other in many different
yes.
ways. Tell me about your family.
Well, I have, we were 9, like I said before, 6 girls and 3 boys. And my sisters, the older ones grew up and left before I come along, But they were seamstress, the girls were, and very, very talented.
They do it by hand, or did they?
Yes, by
use
hand.
right?
Oh, yeah, everything used to be by hand. No machines. This was, you did baby clothes by hand, In fact, I have Don Lewis's baptism dress, and it's designed by them, and I still have it.
And who is Don?
Don Lewis, my son.
Yes. Tell us about Don.
Well, he's my oldest son, and he was offered this business, and he asked Mama, he said, Mama, what do you think? He wanted to buy this business, but he had to sell everything he owned to buy it. So I said, you've always done good for someone else. Why can't you do it for yourself? So now it's been 25 years ago, and he's got a beautiful business.
I know you're proud of your family. Tell me about other members of your.
Well, I have another daughter. I have 3 daughters and 2 sons, and my third one, passed away.
Right.
But my daughters are. I graduated from college, UTSA, but there also are barbers and beauticians. They have license for both kind, and so. In case something happens to me, well, they can take over the business anytime. And sometimes if I need them, they're here. And turn out to be really good barbers, real good barbers, and beauticians both.
Now, tell me where you live today.
I live in same place I lived when I was born at the Gallagher Ranch, but I live
Right.
across the road my grandfather left my mother that property, which is right across from 211.
211.
That's where I live. I've lived there since I went to school, same place. A different house, but it's the same property.
And that's where Don grew up,
Uh-huh,
and
uh-huh.
your youngsters grew up.
Oh, yeah. All our life we lived there. That's why I can't, a lot of things I don't understand when other people move here and there. And we've always had the same neighbors, and it's just so wonderful. So, I love them all.
Anything else that you'd like to tell us about your life and life of your
Well,
children, or the community all around San Geronimo?
I would just like to say that I had help too when I was growing up. I was a musician, I played the guitar, and I barbering, but my parents couldn't afford to send me to Barber College. So this man that was a barber and was a musician, and Mr. Lewis was the owner of the Lewis Barber College. He would give you a commission if you brought a customer, So Mr. Leal, Amos Leal, he took his commission and gave it to me so that I could go to college. So he let me start barbering without a license on base, so that I already could cut hair. So I worked there. So I worked on base for 15 years.
What base?
Lackland.
Lackland?
15 years I worked there. And my boss, had told me that if I got a job on the outside, that everybody were drunk. So I said, so he didn't want me to leave because I was a good employee, and I was always on time and everything. So I worked for 15 years till it was hard, too hard.
Well, you had to do it very fast too.
Well, not really. We were already in the place where they already had that first haircut.
Okay.
We were doing like cadets.
You weren't doing the basic.
No. We did the base like officers and
Okay.
Oh yeah. No. We already were in the. But anyway, there for 15 years. Then I called my college professor and asked him, how do I do about going to get a job? So he said that he knew somebody. Mr. Preston Kelly was my next boss. And he said, you could work for me as long as you want to. So I worked for him for 11 and a half years. And then this opportunity came here, and I couldn't buy it because I had 6 children. So my dad said, if you want it, I'll buy it for you. So he bought it for me 41 years ago. And my boss was wonderful, Mr. Kelly. He said, if there's anything you need, he said, just let me know.
Didn't he own a number?
Oh, lots of them. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what
Lots
I
of
recall.
them. And I'd fuss at him all the time. I would say, why you want so many? And of course, but that time people drank a lot, But anyway.
So you've been here in this spot?
41 years.
41 years.
May the 11th, 1966, my dad bought this for me.
Wow. Helotes has changed a little bit.
Oh, yeah. It's changed a whole lot.
Was it incorporated then?
No. Everybody was just like we were, raised like we were around here too, That's when I met Mr. Tapawine, when I opened here for Portugal. Wonderful person. Yeah. Of course, we had a nice priest too, and I used to, every time something would happen, I said, Father, did you go see so-and-so? No, Ella. I said, well, you need to. I don't know if they're Catholic. You wouldn't tell nobody you were Catholic, you just had to. So anyway, when Mr. Tapawine died, I said, Father, I called him and I said, you need to go see Miss Tapawine. I don't know, she needs somebody to talk to. And he did. He made the funeral, So it was unbelievable. It didn't matter who was what. Everybody would be together, It didn't matter.
I'm sure you remember Hugh.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's about the age of Don.
Yes, he is, And William. William just got a haircut last week. William and all the boys get haircuts in here. All of them, yeah.
This has been a great opportunity to get this part of history and see how the ranching, the dairying, the
Oh, yeah.
farming effort, and how people work together in rather trying circumstances. And I appreciate you taking time to grant us this interview, and sometime when you can get
Some of the others?
others.
Oh, I
we'll
can
do
get
that.
them all together, the ones that we all, because Fred, Fred is a lieutenant colonel, He'd love that. Wait till I tell him,
Yeah, we'd love that.
Well, I'd love them all. Like I said, all I have to do is just tell them, we'll get together.
Do the shots still farm and
Oh, yes,
ranch?
Oh, yeah, When my dad used to butcher, Mr. Schott would send the boys, Leslie and Gary, and he'd tell them, he said, Mr. Sanchez is going to butcher today, y'all need to go pull up the hogs, 400 pounds, and the boys would do it for us.
That old block and tackle or winch or whatever.
Till this day, my husband, he makes salt, and he takes it to the boys. We always treat them, to this day, we still treat them with their, stuff that we make. And look, Papa's been dead for years and years. But we do that. Still have that little feeling. And he helps everybody. He brings everybody that we grew up with.
When did you get electricity to your home?
I don't remember. I don't remember that.
Growing up,
Oh yeah, we had little lamps.
had the lamps. And
Yeah, we didn't have no radios, no nothing, nothing.
Growing up in a small community where people were farming and ranching, electricity didn't get there until
No, not
the
till
late
way-
40s.
Oh, I don't really don't remember it at all.
So I don't know.
I remember, like I said, when I was 15, that Papa already had bought a car for us, and like I told my mother, I said, if I can back it out of the garage, I know how to drive. Can you imagine? And so anyway,
Well, we appreciate this, Ella.
Well,
This is
thank
very,
you.
Very nice of you.
thank you.